welcome. I'm really excited. We are kicking off a 3-part firm series focused specifically on sales and use tax today. LinkedIn Live series. We're doing this every other week starting today, right on Wednesdays at 12:30. So our next one will be 2 weeks from today. We're really looking forward to this. We have 3 exciting firms that are going to be sharing their insights around sales and use tax, what they're doing today, how they're engaging clients, and how they're setting up their services for success with their clients around sales and use tax. Starting today, we have Dorris from Mauldin and Jenkins. I'm really excited to welcome Jeff. And Jeff, I want to bring you in for a quick introduction.
Sure. Thanks, Marianne, and thanks for having me. At Mauldin and Jenkins, we're a full-service CPA firm, and I'm the SALT practice leader. And we've been, over about the last 18 months, we've really been focusing on sales and use tax, what we can do for our clients and how we can better service them. So I really appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. We're really excited for it. We're really looking forward to your insights and your feedback and learning a little bit from you and how you're engaging clients right now. I want to point out, we want to welcome clients. This is an interactive discussion, so feel free to comment in the comment box. We would love to hear some engagement, and we'll be able to engage back with you. With that, Jeff, I want to get started right away and really kind of digging into what you guys are doing in sales and use tax, because you're really on the forefront of this and really have positioned yourself and your firm kind of as a thought leader in this area. So you and I have worked a lot, as well as CPA.com, with you around the build out, the strategic build out of your sales tax services. And with that, you and your firm, you've allocated a lot of resources and time to build out your sales tax services and really create that strategic plan around sales tax. So with that, you've really made sales tax a priority. And I'm curious, why now? Sales tax has been around a long time, but what is it around the timing right now that you and your firm feel like this is the right time to position sales tax services?
Yeah, Marianne, I think my answer to that probably would be two-sided, depending on which side of the fence you're on. I think first, as an advisory practice, it's our job as a firm to protect and educate our clients. And so from that aspect, if you look at it from Wayfair, we're a little bit of 2 years out, and not every state had economic nexus statutes on their books. So it took time for them to enact statutes, and it took time for them to get those on the books. And once they enacted the economic statutes, they scattered the effective dates over 6 to 12 months period after that. And you think about states don't typically audit during the statute period. They tend to wait towards the end. You have six or 12 months left of the statute, and then all of a sudden you get the notice of audit coming in. So if you consider a 3-year statute of limitation state, we're nearing that in the next 12 to 18 months. And so we're not talking about just a 12 to 8 or a 3-year statute. We're talking about a 3-year statute on a major sales tax collection change. And so now is really the time to educate our clients and to prepare them both where they stand and for the audit going forward. So it's happening in the next 12 or 18 months. And so we really saw that as an opportunity to prepare ourselves and for our clients. And from a firm standpoint, if you're looking at it from a firm standpoint, these advisory services, you can make money, right? So not only are these advisory services necessary to prepare those clients for their current and future obligations, but they're necessary to help mitigate the risk as well. In many cases, we can use our expertise to look for and find overpayments and help them offset the cost of both implementing new technology that they need for Wayfair, but also help pay for those assessments that they may have coming if they weren't fully compliant immediately.
No, that's excellent feedback. And I do think there is that, now is the right time. And as I consult with more and more firms, I think we're hearing that. So I think that story is really important. But also, as we look at kind of what's going on currently and the uncertainty a lot of us have faced over the course of the last 6 to 8 months, oftentimes as I consult with firms, a lot of them are kind of preoccupied, right? They've got the PPP loans that they're worrying about, loan forgiveness and other services that they're trying to navigate right now through these uncertainties of the last few months. So how, Jeff, are you currently educating and bringing awareness to your clients around the importance of sales and use tax? What are those conversations like there in the firm?
Yeah, I really think you already said it. It's right now, it's not easy. Because you're right, many businesses have been focused on PPP, right? So in March, it was, March and April, it was the loan applications. Now we're going through the loan forgiveness applications and all that stuff. So it is difficult to really get in front of these clients and really get their attention elsewhere. And that's been the challenge. We try to stay on top. We have a SALT newsletter, so we try to stay on top of making sure we get that out on a timely basis. Our emails that are going out, we try to email our clients, what's going on, what you can expect, as best we can. We have kind of these industry email blasts that we send out to our clients and let them know what other businesses in the industry are seeing and hearing from a sales and use tax perspective. And I think the last thing, or the major thing I would say about all that content that we're sending out, is we try to be really creative with the content. As sales tax advisory, as a practice, we've kind of been this gray cloud over a lot of businesses over the last 2 years since Wayfair. We've been the bearer of bad news. This is how much money it's going to cost you to become compliant. If you haven't been compliant, this is how much money you owe already. And so we're trying to be creative and come up with other ways to really get in front of them and get their attention. And I think that's been a big part of it.
Absolutely. I think that's a key, Jeff, for just the awareness piece of it. And you want to try and kind of create it to be like, this is something we need to think about. One thing I would add, and I think it's important as I work with firms, what we are seeing right now from just the landscape side of things is these jurisdictions that are losing money, right, due to this uncertainty we've been through. So I think we are anticipating an uptick in I don't know if the aggressiveness is the right word, but in terms of audit aggressiveness going into the future as these jurisdictions try to make up for some of those budget shortfalls. So again, that kind of talks to a little bit of that opportunity right now to really bring and continue to bring awareness for the clients. Now, for you, Jeff, and building out your sales tax practice, I know technology has been important. I know technology is important. It's one of the ways that firms continue to drive in their service offering, create their service strategy. What role does technology play in your firm? And what was important to you and the firm as you evaluated your different technology options?
Yeah, I think technology is very important, and it does play a major role, especially in our advisory practice, but in a large part with our firm as a whole. If you think about it, we use technology in every aspect, right? We use technology when we research statutes. So the whole Wayfair situation happened. As states enacted their statutes, we had to research all. We had to stay on top of that. So that's a technology tool. We use technology when we analyze our client data. We use technology to strategize, both from additional service offerings we can bring to our clients, but also like a state tax planning tool. We also use it to eliminate manual tasks so that we can spend our time, our client billable hours, we can spend that performing value-added activities, not manual tasks. So technology plays a huge role in that. And one example, I talk about is, we partner with Vertex. Vertex is our sales and use tax compliance tool, but we've really coupled that with RPA technology. That's robotic process automation. And we use RPA technology to really automate the sales tax return preparation services to the point where we've actually even branded that. We have a division of Mauldin and Jenkins. It's called Sales Tax Simplified. And so we've designed that really to be a minimally invasive service as an alternative to some of the software companies that you have on the market for their compliance services. And we've designed it to be competitive from a pricing standpoint as well. So we utilize RPA technology in order to remove those manual tasks, right? So we'll take a data dump from the clients, whatever their ERP system is, whatever reports they already have available, assuming they still have the relevant data points that we need, and we'll push that into our process. And the return preparation and filing happens pretty much without any type of manual labor. So that's a key point where technology comes in to play, and it removes a lot of our manual tasks so that we can spend our time managing the function, right? Adding that value versus putting numbers in a box, which historically used to be what you paid a CPA firm to do when it came to sales and use tax, is put a number in a box. Well, now we can really focus on the value add. So technology plays a major piece in that. One other thing I'll add, you mentioned we expect an uptick in the audit. a major player from state's audit standpoint is going to be the technology and how to do that and how to identify businesses, companies, because just like firms' technologies get better, so are the states and the departments are getting better with their technology as well.
Absolutely. And it's exciting to hear what you're doing with Sales Tax Simplified. I think it's an opportunity throughout the market to be able to really reach clients and deliver these services. So that's really exciting. And just the way you've utilized technology, you're definitely on the forefront of that. One thing I would love to just gain your insight on is, one, when we look at technology, there's so much technology in the industry, especially since Wayfair, right? It's like this opportunity where a bunch of technology vendors are reaching out and seeing that opportunity, and they want to jump in and take advantage of that. So any advice you could give for firms that maybe haven't begun in terms of their technology evaluation, or maybe are in the middle of the technology evaluation, what advice do you have for those firms?
Yeah, advice, I think, speaking personally on what we did, the biggest thing that I could say was a benefit for us was having firm buy-in for what we were doing. Basically, we had to make a business case for the technology, and we had to prove that technology was going to enable us to do what we, one, were saying it would help us do, and two, that we wanted it to do. Because we know technology is not cheap, right? It costs money. It costs money to implement. It costs money to analyze it. It costs money to maintain it. So as you're going to have to allocate these resources, and every time you need to go, get the approval for the money and the time to spend on that technology, if you have firm buy-in, that process is going to be a lot quicker and a lot smoother. So that was a very big part in ours to be able to get this off the ground up and running without a lot of headaches and hurdles to jump through, was the firm buy-in. The other thing we considered more on the technology front was thinking about what actually the technology could do and what we need to consider. And things were like, does this technology we're looking at, does it work with our current systems and our current processes? What's the cost? Is it an annual cost? Is it a one-time cost? Is it some type of subscription? Is it something we download on our internal servers? Can that technology be scalable? And I mentioned earlier, and so did you, that we've branded our sales tax return preparation services, Sales Tax Simplified. That's a new division, right? So as that grows, can the technology that we've implemented grow with it? We talk about maybe we have 10 clients. Well, then what about 100 clients or 1,000 clients? What does that look like? And last thing we always talked about was, and this is the hard part, but if there are potential future technologies, because we know the world of technology changes a lot faster than most of us do, but how does that future technology play with the technologies we're looking at? Does it have a tool or the ability to do that? So those are some things we kicked around as a firm when we were considering the technologies to use.
I love that. I love that idea around growth and scalability and kind of seeing, how are your clients going to grow, and can the technology grow with you? I think that's a huge piece of advice for firms, and I hope that other firms take that into consideration as well, because I do think that's a huge part of that strategy, right? That technology strategy. And we've talked a lot about the successes you've had, how you've built out the Sales Tax Simplified, kind of what you're seeing, and why now, why Sales Tax now. But I know some of the successes also came with challenges. So I ask, as you look back on your journey and the rollout of your sales tax services, what are those successes? But especially, what are those challenges? What have you come across that you'd like other firms to kind of know of?
Well, the successes are the easy part. That's the fun part we like to talk about all the time, and we brag about the ways we're able to help our clients in their current situations. You can throw out the Wayfair issues where you have a client that comes to you that is not prepared for Wayfair, and now you're talking about you're in 2019, and they should have been filing in 20, 30 states. So we help them quantify it. We help them go through the VDA processes. We help them build processes and implement controls so that they are up and running and they are fully compliant, right? You couple that with some version of a look back review where we can identify overpayments, help them pay for that, because it wasn't something necessarily they saw coming, so they probably didn't have reserves for that. So that's the fun stuff, the easy stuff. I said it when we first started talking, that we consider ourselves an advisory practice first and foremost. So anytime that we can create a product or a solution to eliminate something for our clients, that's a win for us. So those are the success stories, because we are that service-oriented practice. That's the easy part. I think the harder part is the challenge. And what I mean by that is doing what we just said is not easy. It's not easy to go through and quantify and implement technologies for a client and get them off the ground and up and running. You end up managing a lot of different people, both with your own firm and with the client, a lot of different systems. When you get a new client, there's no telling what system they have, whether it's a new system on the market that's been implemented, how was it implemented correctly, incorrectly? Do they have a 100-year-old homegrown system or anything in between? You have all those challenges you have to deal with, and you really have to force yourself to maintain that 10,000-foot perspective over the entire process. So I think my point of all that is these new engagements, they're all learning experiences, and we have to make sure we're aware of that, and we keep that in mind, that we use and we grow with it. We didn't necessarily have all of our processes and procedures formalized and in place day one, right? We had to go back and forth, and oftentimes go back to a CFO and get additional information that maybe we should have had day one, right? And just things like that, all the formal documentations and everything that a practice has 10 years down the road that you take for granted for is not available. You have to create it. You have to make sure you have it. And it's hard to prepare and think about all that stuff up front until you start doing those engagements. So that was definitely probably the challenge is having all that stuff.
Jeff, that's great insight. I mean, just the idea around how the practice evolves, right? Like your plan day one is different than, 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, a year, 5 years, 10 years. And the way that you are able to evolve the practice with those changes is really important. And I see that as a challenge, but I also see that as a way to really continue to keep this service level relevant and be able to meet the client demand that we're seeing today as well as into the future. And with that, I want to close out our discussion today with really kind of your final thoughts and your advice. So, what should other firms be prepared for? Firms that are ready to, essentially dive in the deep end and really get started and offering sales and use tax services. What advice do you have for them?
Just get ready and hold on. Make sure that you are aware. I mean, there's a reason that your firm has decided to approach this and offer these services, but there's value there, and you understand that your firm has already identified that. But it's still a learning process, right? You're still doing something that you haven't done as a firm before. So you're going to get things wrong or not necessarily do things maybe the most efficient or the most effective way the first time. And that's where that growth comes in and those sort of things. But make sure you plan for those types of situations. A lot of firms focus on realization. Your realization is not going to be very good initially because you're doing a lot of process building and these types of things that, once you do it, it becomes a well-oiled machine. But right now, it's just not that efficient. But as you get better and you start performing those repeatable model type engagements, that realization will improve. But just making sure that you understand that this is a new service line. If it is for you, if you haven't done it a lot before, just plan and expect for those learning situations because they're going to happen. You can try to do the best you can, but they're still going to happen.
Jeff, absolutely. And I want to thank you. I think this was an excellent discussion. The insights, the feedback, your experiences, what you were able to bring to our audience today. I think it's well needed, and I think that it's very much appreciated. So thank you so much. As we conclude today, I just want to send out a reminder that this is a 3-part series on sales and use tax. Today was part 1 with Mauldin and Jenkins. Join us 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks from today, same time, 12:30. We'll be meeting with Moss Adams and having a discussion with them around their sales tax practices and how they have positioned themselves for success. So we're very much looking forward to that. Thanks again, Jeff, and everyone have a good afternoon.
Bye. Thanks, Marianne.